Hello friends, welcome to my channel Java interview questions and answer. So earlier slides I have discussed about the OOPS concept. OOPS concept is object oriented programming concept. So there are some of the important concept in Java which is called as OOPS concept, and we can say this is a pillars of the Java, like inheritance, polymorphism, encapsulation and abstractions. So I have discussed about the abstractions. So abstraction means hiding internal implementation detail, just highlighting the set of services is called the abstraction. And with the help of interface as well as abstract class, we can achieve the abstraction. So for the now we'll come to the depth of the how many types of the modifiers is allowed in the interface method. As earlier I have discussed that interface contain only public and abstract method. So the following modifier is not allowed in the interface method, like private, protected, final, default, static, strict floating point, synchronized and native. So if you are creating one of the interface and you have created one of the method like display, so it is by default public abstract method. If you are trying to add some more modifiers, then it is not allowed. Okay, you can get the compile time error. So this is the criteria of the interface. And second thing is the variable in the interface. So as I discussed, inside the interface all the variable is by default public, static, final. Why? Public means variable available for all implemented classes. Implemented classes means, suppose you have created one interface and you have created one display method inside that interface. Now you are trying to implement that interface with one of the other classes. Suppose there is a one class xyz implements this demo interface, and inside this class xyz you will have to override the display method. Override means you will have to provide the implementation of the display method. Okay, this is the first thing. Now this is called the xyz class is a implemented classes. Okay, so this, suppose I have created one variable int id inside that interface, so it is a by default public, static, final. So public means it is available in the implemented classes. Static means without creating the object of the implemented classes, we can access this variable. Means in interface, it is not allowed that we can create the object of the interface. With the help of interface name, we can access the variable of the interface. Okay. So suppose my interface name is a demo and my variable name is id. So demo.id. So it will be visible to the other classes, as well as with the help of interface name, I can access the variable name without creating any object of the interface. Now final means, suppose I have created the id inside my interface. Id is the field which is some sensitive data or some important information which I have already at the time of declaration I have assigned some of the value like id equals to 101. So final, so this is final. So inside that implemented classes or any of the classes which is implementing that interface, they can access that variable id, but they don't have rights to override or change the value of the variable. So that's why this is a public, static, final. Okay, now we'll come to the what is the difference between interface and abstract class. So first of all, I will provide the more details. Interface contain only abstract method. This is the first point. Remember this thing. Interface contain only abstract method, and all the method present inside the interface is by default public and abstract method. Okay, and abstract class contain abstract method as well as a concrete method. Concrete method means it can be static method, it can be private method, it can be protected method, it can be any method. Okay, so abstract class don't have any restrictions, it can contain any type of method. Now we'll discuss one all of the point. So if we don't want anything about the implementation, then we should go to the interface. Means if you have a four methods and you don't know the implementation of that method, then you should declare your you can create one interface, and inside your interface you can provide your specification of all of the method. Okay, implementation is provided by whichever the classes which is implementing that interface, they can provide their own implementation. First thing, so you, if you don't know about the implementation, just go with the interface. First thing, every method present inside the interface is by default public and abstract. Following modifiers is not allowed in the interface. So string, floating point, private, default, protected, string, static, it's not allowed in the method of the interface. It is a by default public and abstract. Every variable present inside the interface is a public static final. For the interface variable, we cannot declare the following modifier like private, protected, transient, and volatile. If, as I discussed, that interface contain only public static final variables, so this type of modifiers we cannot allowed in inside that interface: private, protected, transient, and volatile. Okay, inside interface we cannot take instance or static block. Okay, so suppose you have created one of the interface and you want to create one of the non-static block or instance block or static block, then it will not allow. Okay, because we are not creating object of the interface, then how it will not execute ever, and it will not get called. So this is restricted interface. We cannot take any instance and static block. Inside interface we cannot take a constructor. So constructor will call while creating the object of that class. But if we are not creating the object of that class, then it will not allowed to create any constructor inside the interface. Java interface can extend multiple interface. Also, Java class can implement multiple interface. Okay, so suppose you have an interface A, you have an interface B. If you want to extend, then it will use the extend keyword between two interface. So interface A extend interface B. But if you have a class A, or as you can say class X, and you have an interface 2 A and B, so class X implements interface A comma B. Okay, so one Java class implement multiple interface. Java can one interface can extend another interface. Okay, so this is a rule: interface extend, class and interface is a implement. A class can implement any number of interface, which means interface can provide more polymorphism support than abstract class. Means more polymorphism means we can define one or more way to implement, or we can implement more than one interface to the classes. So one classes can implement multiple interfaces. Okay, now we'll come to the abstract classes. So if we are talking about the partial implementation, suppose you have a for method inside your abstract class, and you know the two classes implementation, means the display method and demo method, you know the implementation of that method, but other two methods you don't know the implementation. So you, what you can do, you can declare your class as an abstract class, and all methods consist like two abstract methods, and two is a normal method like static. It can be static, it can be private, it can be anything. Okay, so if you know the partial implementation, then you should go to the abstract class. Every method present inside abstract class need not public and abstract, it has a concrete method. So as I discussed, you know the partial implementation. So inside that abstract classes, your class, it can be concrete method, means it can be static or it can be private. There are no restrictions for the abstract class modifier. Okay, so there is no any variable restriction inside the abstract method. Means suppose in interface all the variables is by default public static final, but in abstract class you can declare any type of variable. Okay, so it should not be any restricted like public static final. You can use any type of modifier. Inside abstract class we can take instance and static block. Okay, so abstract class also we cannot create an object, but we can take the instance and static block. And how it will execute? So if you are creating one abstract class abc, inside abstract class you have a abstract method demo. So while creating a reference variable of this your abstract class, at that time you are assigning your implemented classes object. Okay, so inside this, if you are trying to access the reference with the help of reference variable you are creating and you are calling the demo method, okay, that time internally it will call as a super. So child class constructor will get called at that time, super keyword will call and which will execute the abstract class constructor. Okay, so means abstract class contain the constructor, means your class A. Suppose how I can explain, your abstract class A, inside abstract class you have a demo method, it is an abstract method. Class B extend the abstract class, and inside abstract class you are providing the implementation of demo method, and inside main you are creating a reference of this abstract class demo d equal to new implemented classes object. Okay, at that time inside while executing the implemented class constructor, internally it will execute as a super keyword and it will get called the abstract class constructor. Okay, by extending abstract class, a class can only participate in one type of hierarchy, but using interface it can be part of multiple type of hierarchy. Means if you are creating a class abstract class, then it will extend only one class at a time, but you are talking about the interface, then multiple interface a class can implement. Okay, so guys, you now you will know about the abstract class and interface. Partial implementation, then go to the abstract class. Fully specification you know and you don't know any of the implementation, then you should go to the interface. Okay, all the variable inside the abstract class is a public static final. All the variable inside the abstract class, there is a no any type of restriction. Abstract class contains static block, a non-static block, constructor, everything is there, but in inside interface it does not have. Okay, fine. Now we'll come to the encapsulation. So it is a second pillar of the Java OOPS concept, encapsulation. Encapsulation means binding data member and member function together into single unit. Data member means all the private variables or means a class, you have a one class public class, inside your id, name, department, salary, whatever xyz. How many members of the data members? So data members and member function means all the functions of your or all the methods, so binding together into single unit is called the abstract class. Now, object-oriented programming language is a concept that enforces protecting variable functions from outside of the class in order to better manage the piece of code and having at least impact or no impact on the other parts of the program. Due to this change, uh, protected code. Okay, means if you are changing anything, okay, so it should not impact to the outside of the classes. Okay, so all the data members should be private and all the member function should be getter, there is no setter. So means it is a binding together into single unit is called the encapsulation. Encapsulation in Java is visible at different places, and the Java language itself provide many constructor to encapsulated member. You can completely encapsulate a member and to be a variable or method in a Java by using private keyword, and you can even achieve the lesser degree of the encapsulation in Java by using other access modifier like protected and public. Means inside that encapsulation your all the data members should be private. Okay, if you are providing your data member as a public or default or protected, then you are achieving the lesser degree of the encapsulation. If you want your class should be tightly encapsulated, then your all the data members should be private, and you have a getters method to access that data members. Okay, and there should be private constructor. There is no any public, default or protected type, any type of constructor modifier is allowed. Only private modifier is allowed, so private constructor should be there. Okay, so encapsulation means binding data member and member function together into single unit is called the abstraction. Okay, now we'll come to the uh, second point of the encapsulation. So before going this, I will explain one thing. Abstraction resolved the uh, data consistency problem. Okay, and encapsulation resolved the implementation problem. Okay, so implementation problem means it's like you can say some of the designs patterns you can use inside that encapsulation. Okay, now we'll come to the next point, advantage of the encapsulation. So encapsulated code is more flexible and easy to change with new requirement. Okay, so if you are encapsulating code, then you have declared the private data members, so it can be changed. It can be, you can change later on according to the your design principle, like protected or default, any type of changes you can do. Encapsulation in Java makes unit testing easy. Okay, so if you are doing your classes and providing unit testing, then it would be easy. Encapsulation is Java allows you to control who can access. So you can manage the control over your class. Means in Java, if you are declaring your variable as a private variable, then nobody can access outside of that variable. Okay, so you allow to control who can access and what. Encapsulation also helps to write immutable class in a Java, which is a good choice in multi-threading environment. Okay, so guys, I will discuss later about the immutable classes. Immutable means nobody can modify that class. Okay, that class is a immutable class. For now, you can just see this immutable means nobody can change. Okay, so encapsulation helps to write the immutable class, means because in inside immutable class all the data members is a private. Okay, I will discuss later slide about the immutable class example and everything. Right now but you can understand about the it helps the to write the immutable classes and multi-threading environment. For multi-threading also I will discuss later about. Right now I will explain about the only the advantage of the encapsulation. Encapsulation reduce the coupling of the modules and increase cohesion inside the module because all pieces of one thing are encapsulated in one place. Means encapsulation reduce the couplings of module, means your data member and member function at one place. Okay, it's not scared to the another place. Suppose in you are creating data member in one classes and another classes you have created, and you are trying to access the data member with the help of the other class method, so it is a scared. Okay, so it reduce the coupling of the model and increase the cohesion. Okay, now encapsulation allows you to change one part of code without affecting the other part of code. Okay, so means as I discussed, if you want to change the variable name, variable visibility, then you can directly change inside your classes. So outside, no, it will not affect the outside or other parts of the code. Now we'll come to this next slide. Example of the real time, sorry, I should change these defined encapsulation example. Okay, so here I have created one example. You can see there is one classes loan. Inside my loan classes there is a sum of the private variable. Private variable means nobody can use this outside of that class. Okay, now we'll come to the constructor. So as I told you that constructor is a private, so outside nobody can create the object of that class. Okay, or nobody can access the functionality of that class. Now we'll come to the another method of create loan. So it is encapsulated and creating the loan and returning the loan type of object. Okay, So if I am creating the object of that class loan equal to new loan, and inside that loan I can provide the duration, suppose 12 months, loan type, loan reference, borrower, and salary. So which type of loan, like home loan or anything loan, I can provide the loan type here, borrower who is taking the loan, and what, how much is his salary. Okay, so this information I can provide, and it is a creating loan and providing the object of that particular loan type. Okay, so this is a basic example of the encapsulation. So just remember guys, encapsulation means binding data member and member function together into single unit. All the data members should be private. There should be private constructor, and there should be getters, or it can be setters also. So to set some of the entries of that particular class, but setter can access outside. So basically we used to refer the getter only to get the data. Okay, so hopefully guys you understood about the difference between abstract class and interface as well as encapsulation. So next slide I will cover the inheritance and polymorphism topic. If you like my videos and my descriptions or explanation, then please like, share, and subscribe my channel. So I will provide more details and more depth knowledge about the interview preparation of the Java. Thank you.